Welcome back, Andrew. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very good. It is very nice to see you. You've been a frequent guest on our show, and so it's a little surreal talking to you virtually.
I think this is my 7th time. I gotta say, Seth, I was telling your producers the other day, you are and your whole staff are just nailing this, and it's
thank you, buddy.
It's such a great comfort to watch your show and to see what you're doing. And I just I've always been a fan, but particularly in the past few months, like you guys are just doing such a fantastic job.
That's so kind of you to say, and I can tell you that it is. I feel such comfort being able to do it. So thank you for for watching. So this you're airing the final 4 episodes, correct? Because you did finish in time, but then there COVID interrupted post-production.
Exactly. So we have 4 episodes left. So that next episode will air this Sunday. Yeah, we had it all filmed, but then there's a lot of work that needs to be done in post with editing and ADR and things like that. So we had to take a little pause, and now we're kicking back up again, and we're starting off with a. I think it's one of my favorite episodes of the season because it's a Halloween episode, which was my favorite as kids, as a kid, like watching those episodes where everybody gets dressed up in crazy costumes. And I sort of strong-armed our creators into letting me dress up as George Michael from the Faith video.
And it's era appropriate to the show.
Yes, no, totally appropriate with yes, I think it's very appropriate. But I just wanted professionals to make me look like George Michael.
Yeah.
Sort of.
By the way, we have some photos and they did a very good job, but you were close. Like, you can't just make anyone look like George Michael. You did a lot of work here.
Well, thank you. No, I was very excited, but everybody else sort of had they were giving other options and things. And I was like, that's the only one I want. I want to look like George Michael in the Faith video because I always have wanted to look like that.
I loved that video a great deal. I don't know at the time if I knew George Michael was gay. Was he out then, or probably not?
No, I don't think he came out until probably 10 years later or so.
Gotcha.
But in my little child heart, I knew that there was a kinship there.
Yeah. Whereas I just thought that is the coolest guy I've ever seen.
Cool guy.
I mean, by the way, I was right. He is the coolest guy I'd ever seen. I just wasn't getting, I was missing a good deal of it. I think it's time.
Yeah. But you weren't alone. I think a lot of people were missing that. So,
and did you, when you were wearing the outfit, was it exactly as rewarding as you wanted it to feel?
Yeah. I spent a lot of time just looking at myself in the mirror and being like,
your character, I know you to be a good guy, and I feel like on the whole you've played nice people. Your character is a very bad person now.
Yeah. The first season was sort of he was sort of naive and kind of figuring out his place on Wall Street, and then the second season he's really just gone off the rails. I mean, he's I would read these scripts and be like, you want me to do what? So it was really fun to get to do because it was so different from the first season. And we had, there was a lot to cover this season. And, I got, I have both a wife and a boyfriend. So that's always very exciting. And my boyfriend this season is played by my actual boyfriend, Tuck Watkins. So that was also a real treat. We met doing Boys in the Band on Broadway and then had filmed the movie of Boys in the Band for Netflix. And then we got to work together on Black Monday. So it's very nice. It's very nice.
So tell me, because I would imagine sex scenes are very hard when it's someone you're not a couple with in real life. Yeah. But are they actually easier when it's someone you're a couple with in real life, or is it still so not, since it's so public, I guess?
Well, having done both now, I would say that the anxiety is just it's a new kind of anxiety. Because I've done it, on Girls, I had to do a handful of sex scenes and a few with Corey Stoll, who's so fantastic, but we didn't really know each other, so that was very awkward to sort of figure out, what are you comfortable with? And is this okay? And how do I touch you? And so with Tuck, it was very easy to sort of block it and get into it. But then when it came time to actually filming it, all of a sudden I had this realization that I was surrounded by the crew who have now become friends of mine.
Sure.
And I thought, I wonder if they're thinking, so that's what it looks like. That's what they do at home. that's how they touch each other. So then I got sort of like weirdly self-conscious in a different way. But all that said, it was much easier to do it with, somebody that you're
right.
Yeah.